I don't want to marry somebody like my parents. For God's sakes, I don't want to marry anybody like my parents.
Harville, let's talk about our Imago.
Okay.
Why does it seem like our partners bring out the worst in us? Is there any hope? Is there anything that can be done?
Well, I think that question, that reality sucks.
Amen to that. Yes, yes, yes.
And that it's common.
Yes.
That is nothing unusual about that. And that has to do with the way we select our partners. And we're not in charge of that. Our unconscious mind is in charge of the selection process.
I was afraid you were going to say that. Okay.
so you can't blame it on yourself. You're unconscious. If you want to find a scapegoat, your unconscious did it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and you can't change your unconscious. So we're sort of stuck with it. But what happens over the years, Helen and I have figured out, and we've been working on this for 25 years or so together, is that it appears, and there's now evidence to support that this assumption is in fact accurate, with some data from research, that when we're little, we create a picture in our minds of the caretakers. And that picture is sort of like an impressionistic painting. It's not a photograph.
Okay.
It's like an impressionistic painting, so it has features that are not one-for-one correlations. But that picture is used by the unconscious as a filter to filter out people who are not similar to the picture and to filter in people who are similar to the picture. And the person or persons that are filtered in will be a romantic partner.
Okay.
Now what makes it suck is that picture is made up of the negative traits of the caretakers.
Only the negative traits?
And the positive.
Okay.
But the important sources of energy is the negative traits, because the negative traits are connected to needs not met in childhood.
And that's why it's so powerful.
And that's why it's so powerful. So unconsciously you're looking for a facsimile of your parents, including their negative traits, because that facsimile in your unconscious mind is the source, if you find a match in real life, of the need met that didn't get met in childhood. So it makes it very important that you find somebody who is angry like your father, depressed like your mother.
Yes, right.
From whom
Do
you
know
didn't.
Them? Yes.
Yes, they are every man.
Right, right.
So that you can get warmth from the angry father. The warmth from a wonderful person doesn't count.
Right.
You have to get it from the person from whom you didn't get it.
Right, so you have to fix those things that were broken.
You have to fix the things
and
that
that's
were
why
broken.
it's so hard.
That's right.
And that's why it's a cruel joke from God.
So you will then fall in love with and either move in with in cohabitation, which is now the #1 choice that couples are making.
Coming together, right?
Or you'll marry, which is the second choice. And that partner that you fell in love with, when the dopamine wears off, which it will wear off quickly,
Right.
when the dopamine wears off, you will see this person and you'll begin to experience things, and you won't know what it is. You just know that this looks weird.
Right.
You know, I'm feeling like I did when I was a child, or I'm feeling terrible. And if it's connected to an implicit memory, you don't even know it was in childhood. You just think it's with this partner. But if you do have a later memory, like after 4, you'll make the connection. God, I feel like I'm with my depressed mother again.
Okay.
And that will then make you think you married the wrong person. I don't want to marry somebody like my parents. For God's sakes, I don't want to marry anybody like my parents. And I wind up doing that.
Right.
But the point about that is paradoxical, is that that's the only choice you have unless you marry somebody you don't like, that you have no interest in, no attraction to. When there's attraction, the attraction will be to what we call an Imago match. That person will start off as the person of your dreams. They will become the person of your nightmares. But that's the only person, or at least let's move out the word only, with that person lies your opportunities for greatest healing and growth.
Right, because then if, unless you fall apart, but if you see the relationship through, it's going to be seeing it through those places where your parents were lacking, where you felt unloved or uncared for, and it's only through that process that those really deep wounds can be healed.
And long ago when Helen and I were first figuring that part of the theory out, we got to that point, and I went into a professional depression. It was like, that really sucks.
Yeah, like.
Because that means there's no hope. Because I picked somebody, and Helen picked somebody, who's got the worst trait of our parents.
Right, yeah, inherently, huge amount
What
of
are we going to do with
potential.
that?
Right.
And then what we discovered was there's a miracle in there, because Helen's going to want something from me, I'm going to want something from Helen, that we did not develop in childhood because of our upbringing. So Helen's going to want a behavior, a feeling expression or something. I don't do windows. You know, I grew up where people didn't do that.
Right.
Helen wants exactly what I'm least capable of doing. But it's a potential in me that didn't get evolved in my childhood, which Helen wants, which is she's going to ask for it. And if I say, I don't do windows, but I'll do windows. I'll do that. I start growing an undeveloped part of myself only because Helen called it into being.
Has expressed
it was a need in her. She calls it into being. When I do it, I evolve into undeveloped potential.
Yeah, and despite all of that resistance, I mean, you too are able to be transformed, and she gets what she wants, that it's hard to ask for. So it's so powerful.
Yeah, because in childhood you asked for it and you didn't get it, or you stopped asking for it because you weren't getting it. And so when it happens there, so if it's a mutual commitment to mutual healing and growth, that becomes the ideal relationship.
Right.
Because it grows you into the fullness
of a real oneness is what it sounds like. I love this. It is such a powerful reminder as to why Imago is so genius and why it offers such an insight into why we enter into marriages that can be so challenging, but ultimately how we can use those challenges and have the most transformational experiences in love that is possible. And so I thank you so much. This has been a great discussion.